Welcome to Path of Neo, and now we're doing more trading stuff.
Yay! Really?
Seriously,
Why
we're
is
still
this
doing.
game still going?
Okay. Seriously, we're doing this much trading?
Yes,
Apparently Neo needs it.
Well, remember, Joe, but that's just the thing. If they just stick to the events of the movies, they would not really make it would make for a short game. So they have to stretch things out as much as they can to make sure.
This is the beat 'em up equivalent to Kingdom Hearts 2.
See, here's the problem with that line of thinking, though, Pedro. For the most part, they actually do stick to events of the game for the most part, and yet that manages to suffice.
Hold on, Jova. I'm sorry, Dwibs, but I don't remember in Kingdom Hearts 2 having incredibly awful-looking graphics.
True. Well, thanks Square Enix for that. Although I'm not exactly keen on BB's costume, but yeah.
Pedro, it's just as boring.
I disagree. Like I've said in our 13-2 playthrough, I actually really like the prologue of Kingdom Hearts 2, but I know that's an unpopular opinion.
I wasn't referring to that, Pedro.
I'm referring to.
I was replying to Dwibs.
I'm not really. Yeah, you know what I think of that. Anyway,
random ninjas.
Yeah. In fact, again, this is so boring. I've, thanks to Tio's suggestions, I sped it up and edited it down.
At least in the key parts, anyway.
Yes, so enjoy some music.
Oh, nice! Crash to Insanity. Awesome. But yeah, anyway, the main problem is like, well, okay. It's like, it's only with the first movie that they tend to pad in stuff and add stuff that wasn't in there. I mean, from what I recall of this game, with the second and third, they took events from those movies and, expanded on them as opposed to having to create unnecessary filler.
For Revolutions, they literally just get the finale. They skip from the events of Reloaded directly.
That movie was so pointless for the most part.
Well, this is the thing, Theo. In Revolutions, the only thing Neo did was that battle at the end. They didn't actually
I know that it's very stretching considering what's to come later on, but doing sort of a puzzle thing, another thing with the bit when he's on the train and everything, don't know, maybe.
It was really weird how the third and final one of the Matrix trilogy had quite possibly the least happening in the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's clearly a showcase of things that went out of control.
And yet somehow that still managed to not be the worst of the trilogy because the second movie...
Despite, again, honestly, despite being still a really not exactly great, not like a good movie on its own, the first still have some bases and values, and the sequels just squander them.
Honestly, Joe, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. They're like, for as bad as both the sequel. Well, I personally, I think all three movies are. But honestly, I'll still take Reloaded over Revolutions, because at the very least, Reloaded, for as bad as it was, at the very least, it still had some good visuals here and there.
Wow, I'm surprised. Most people I meet
in Zion. Is it allowed to say that?
Yeah, the fight scene in Zion was so boring.
But I liked it.
Wow, I'm surprised, Pedro. I mean, most people I meet, everyone says that the second movie is the worst, but no.
For some reason, I do like
the one thing that I do like about the third movie is that it can serve as a proof that a Dragon Ball live-action movie is possible if done properly.
And I will admit, I guess the reason for me liking the third movie over the second movie is mainly because while the second movie has more action and more visuals, it's the amount of stupidity that really angers me in the second movie. Like, Neo, the Chosen One, forsakes humanity
Why are we suddenly in a Jackie Chan movie?
Because shut up.
Because Tank figured we could use some variety.
But hey, we've got unlimited ammo.
But Pedro, isn't Tank supposed to be dead? Never mind the fact that he was possibly the best character in that.
That's a funny thing you mentioned. That's a funny thing you mentioned, Jova. We don't even really see Tank's face. Really, he's just from behind.
Not just that, Jova. At this point in time, no. At this point in time, he's still alive. Dwibs.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we can't. We can't fight hand to hand in this one.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about.
Essentially, you're limited to your guns.
I'm just talking about what's meant to come for poor Tank. Seriously, Tank was such.
He didn't had healers and DPSs.
Seriously though, what a waste of one of the few cool character concepts. It's like Tank, the one average Joe who. Well, compared to everyone else, but anyway, regarding
Honestly, I like his replacement a little better.
Yeah.
I like of all the operators, my favorite is Sparks.
Oh, let me guess, it's
obviously.
because Sparks is pretty much the one guy who pretty much questions why everyone is so nonchalant about pretty much just throwing their lives away for the greater good.
In fact, why couldn't we have had a game with Sparks as the main character?
Don't you mean...
Maybe in the reboot, Dwibs.
But yeah.
Yeah. In fact, get his actor or something. I mean, I know he's not big name, but the past few years have proven just because you've got a big name in your film doesn't mean it's going to sell tickets.
Anyway, I will agree that I do too also like Tank's replacement. It's just Tank himself was one of the better characters. I want to say it's sort of like how Jon Stewart kind of became the more recognizable Green Lantern over Hal Jordan eventually. I mean, yes, I like Jon Stewart more than Hal.
It wasn't Kyle Rayner.
Well, Kyle Rayner was the one who replaced Hal Jordan after Parallax, but we like to forget about that now, don't we?
Moving on, go ahead, Jova.
My point being is like, well, okay, yes, I prefer the replacement. It's just like with Hal Jordan, I feel that the means of getting rid of Tank were kind of a bit, unnecessary regarding his character and what.
Well, that was because his actor didn't come back because he had budget issues with Warner Brothers.
I get that, but the least they could have done was at least, give a better explanation as to why he's not there. Like, you could easily say, oh, he died or something, but they're not even clear about that.
True.
It's the Matrix, Joe, but it's never clear about anything.
It's like, seriously, for all the problems that Cars 2 had, I still respect that movie for at least acknowledging that Doc Hudson is pretty much dead because his voice actor is dead.
And then 3.
I have not yet seen 3.
That's a topic, but that's a topic for another day.
I died, so...
Oh, I had to miss this part because, whatever.
It doesn't matter. You missed nothing of value.
No, in a sense, but I could have asked you to edit this out as well.
Sorry, you fail at editing, Tio.
Whatever, the part is short anyway.
What music do I put in for this one, then? I'm trying to remember if it was this or another part.
So, going back to...
Go ahead,
going back to...
Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon. Oh, hey, Gen 6!
Hey, there wasn't... Hey, the Pokemon Gen 6's battle themes weren't all that exciting anyway. This is the best I could think of.
Hey, I actually like this one, but okay.
It could have bred for the Team Plasma Grunt theme. I like that one.
Honestly, I'm okay with this. I like Gen 6, so good choice, Dwibs. Anyway, but yeah.
Well, this is the battle track I don't really mind all that much, as well as the trainer battle theme. It's just the others, really.
I think this one is the rival one.
Yeah, it's the rival battle thing.
Right,
yeah, it was the trainer thing, but they remixed it for Smash.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going back to what I was saying. The main problem with this first section of the game is that the main representation of the first movie is apparently all this stuff that's literally tutorial stuff. Here's the problem, though. Okay, so people playing this as an adaptation of the movies, they want to get to the good stuff. The problem is that they're wasting so much time on these. Like, you know what these would have worked well as?
Jova, if we do that, then the game would be too short.
Okay. Again, I go back to my old argument that, no, there are seriously plenty of events you could have made out of in this movie franchise. Like, seriously, but, ignoring that for a sec, you know what would have been good with these tutorial levels? You could keep them as they are, but make them optional. Like, seriously.
Or Jova, more rewarding, like they do in the Batman Arkham games.
I know,
so basically,
right?
Jova, this is what the game is implying here is that those 10 hours. Was it 10 hours? The 10 hours the 10 hours that Neo spent with Tank learning Kung Fu before this scene. That's what we were doing there. Apparently, that's what they were. According to Wachowski, that's what he was doing. He was doing. Jackie Chan stuff.
Couldn't the training start just from here?
Don't be silly.
The game Teo, we need to pad the game out so it's worth $50.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
have to say, though, it's sad because I've seen everything about this game already due to having to check for edits. And to be honest, as a game itself, despite being still attached to the franchise of Matrix, there are still some legitimately fun moments, which again makes me think that the Wachowskis should just stick to make an actual video game instead of just sticking to movies and TV series.
But they did it twice and they fucked it up.
With these, but they were licensed products, some stuff they already knew.
Their
they had to
own
be
licensed products.
Yeah, they did already with the comic book company. We've seen that in the previous part, Dwibs. My point is, again, just have the Wachowskis do an original IP video game, and let's see what we can come up with. Because again, the video gamey stuff that they came up with in this game is actually some of them are actually hilarious.
Well, they might as well. It's not like they're going to get any TV work after Sense8 ends.
It's like...
Well, for now, we just need to see the supposed conclusion
Wait,
that
hold on.
they're planning.
Wait, hold on. Sense8's still going?
Due to the cancellation of a future series, Dwibs, they're wrapping things up in a special.
I know. They're wrapping it up in a 2-hour film.
Oh, you was talking to Jova.
Yeah.
Basically, Jova, since Sense8 was a gigantic pile of crap that nobody cared to watch, even on Netflix, the Wachowskis are not going to be forced to basically rush through to the end in a 90-minute movie or something.
2 hours.
2 hours? Okay. Basically,
2 hours special to wrap things up.
They were planning a season 3, and remember, Jova, each episode of that show has 1 hour. So now they're going to have to abridge 12 hours of season, the 12 hours of season 3 into 2 hours, apparently.
May God have mercy on our souls.
It's kind of like it's kind of similar to how Person of Interest got screwed over, even though Greg Plagsman and Jonathan Nolan were planning on having more seasons after 5. But
I will give Person of Interest, at least a Person of Interest, they at least had multiple episodes to try and wrap things up. This one, they're trying to squander 12 hours into 2 hours.
Maybe it's a show. Maybe the show was worth a shit. People would have seen it.
It's probably kind of the same what happened with Tartakovsky in season 5 of Samurai Jack. It was probably supposed to be 13 episodes like the others, but they had to compensate with 10, so the finale is completely rushed.
What baffles me the most is that there were people who were saying that the loss of this show is damning to LGBT things.
Yeah, we got over this already.
No, let's not go into that tangent if you don't mind.
No, I'm on about quality's sake. I mean, what I was saying was that you guys have got much better shows that do that thing better to watch.
Sure, but okay, we'll leave it at that.
That's what I was gonna do.
Sure.
Anyway,
despite it's boring.
But yeah.
Not just that.
Going back to...
But this is the thing, Jova. Well, this is the thing, Jova. Person of Interest got 13 episodes, even though each season is like 20-something. Warner Brothers decided to be dicks and literally turn to them and go, oh, by the way, we only have 13 episodes. Finish this shit.
I swear to God, it tends to happen to a lot of the good shows. Their final season where they get screwed over is only 13 episodes as opposed to their normal one.
Let's hope that doesn't happen with Steven Universe.
It's Cartoon Network too. It will happen.
Well, then again, Joe, you just reminded me. It wasn't the last season, but the second to last season of House kind of suffered through.
Yeah. Oh no, House, Dr. House.
The shadows just.
What the hell?
God, those shadows.
What the heck?
Holy fucking they popped out
And why is he crashing through the wall?
Okay, I'll just say this one more thing, Dwibs. The Kingdom Hearts 2 Pro looked competently made. There you go. Anyway,
going back to what I was talking about.
House got screwed over by a lot of circumstance.
Oh, you don't even know the half of it, Jova.
Oh, the stupid race section.
Dr. House is the most amazing bad example of bad executive meddling. Practically every problem that show has is not because of the writer, but because of the executives meddling with it. Even starting with season 1, where they forced us an arc that the writers didn't plan for.
Dwibs, what's happening?
I pressed X.
Trust me, Jova, you have to play this game to understand. Jumping controls in this game are terrible. Just trust me on this.
Yeah, half the time the X button doesn't work.
Trust me, Jova. It may look easy, but the controls make it. Just trust me on this. It's not.
Oh,
as easy
I believe you. I believe you.
House, but basically, I'll just sum it up real quick since there's not long left at the part. House was getting screwed over from the start. Season 1, they threw in an arc that no one, not even the writers, liked because they said it was either that or you lose episodes. Season what was the one where the guy just died halfway through?
5.
Season 5 had a character killed off because one of the actors went to work with Obama. No, I'm not joking. So they wrote him out in like the stupidest way possible.
I disagree, but
Also, gotta love how Morpheus just can, Morpheus just can fall off. Go ahead, Dwibs.
And season 7, well, first off, Olivia Wilde had to go off for like most of that
Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy, so they replaced her with someone who was about as interesting as a toast. It's a piece of toast.
Also, totally worth it considering what Tron Legacy ended up bombing.
I thought it was alright, but
no. I mean, in box office terms, go ahead.
But there was also stuff with they weren't sure whether some of the actors were coming back. They managed to get most of them back, bar one, who was an important character as well. And so what they did was they had an out where a house does something really stupid and that caused that character to not show up in season 8.
Congratulations, Neo. You managed to not die.
Oh, and did I mention it as a toxic romance that stinks up the screen every time it comes up?
Very good, Dwibs. Now can we get back to the game?
So episode 2.
Like there was that much of a game to talk about, but yeah, we beat Morpheus in a
race.
You know what made it more exciting?
It was pretty much a rat race.
It would have been more exciting if, like, I don't know, they had to hop their way over there. I don't know. It'd have been more entertaining to watch because of how stupid it looks as opposed to unresponsive jumping. Anyway, that was part 3. We'll see you in part 4, where I think we finally get out the training shit.
Yeah.
I hope. See you then.
See ya.
Yeah.
See you.